All righty. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Thank you for joining us this evening for our webinar. Our session today will be about the power of the brand, specifically talking about Belize here and different investment types that we have available in country at the moment. We're going to have folks sign in just a second here and get situated with Zoom. I see some folks signing in already. If you're new with us, go ahead and find that Q&A section. You may need your Zoom to update for just a bit. It may take about 30 seconds to get that all going. But if you're new or have been with us for a while, find that Q&A section and let us know what part of the world you're joining us in from today. I know I'm all the way in Belize at the moment. It's hot and sunny. Great time of the year having folks to come down and visit. We have Matthew in Florida, Lisa coming in from California, Roni from Houston, James, not in Belize. All righty, we have some other folks signing in here. Tracy coming in from Arkansas, Noreen all the way in Ireland. Awesome. David coming in from Managua. Kate, California. Awesome. So as we're getting folks settled in here, we'll just go ahead and start the session for today. If there are any questions that may go unanswered today, or if you'd like some one-on-one sessions to get a little bit more clarity on any of your questions, do take note of that email address at the bottom here, webinar@ecidevelopment.com. We will have your assigned property consultant reach out to you and set up those one-on-one sessions, or to answer any pressing questions that you may have not answered on today's session. And with that said, this is our lovely team online today, our panel from ECI, starting off with the lovely Leslie Lawrence. Leslie, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the folks?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I wish I was in Belize right now where those beautiful waters are behind me. That was actually a photo I took my first trip to Belize in March of 2018. Well, to be honest, I think I stopped there once on a cruise, but we weren't able to get off. There was something going on, so I don't even count that trip to Belize. But I have a similar story to a lot of people. I went to Belize. I experienced the magic of the country, the beautiful turquoise waters. I went swimming with the nurse sharks, and that was it for me. I had never experienced such a joy. I went home. I was like, you know what? I'm done with the corporate rat race. I basically said, I'm selling everything I own, packed up what I could, and within probably not even 6-7 months, I was making my way to the island of Ambergris Caye. So I definitely have experience there of living as an expat. I owned a business there for a short time. I moved with my little dog. If you have little fur babies and curious about how to get them to Belize, I can share stories and inputs on that, but I love sharing the country with everyone. I do now call Nicaragua is my current home. I relocated here almost 2 years ago to experience a new country and be near our development, Grand Pacifica. So I'm learning a little bit about this country as well, and happy to share about it today as our focus is on Belize and Ambergris Caye. Excited to really talk about the power of the brand between Best Western and the Marriott residences. So with that, I'll let the next person go. But excited to have everyone here today.
All righty, Gustavo, you're up next.
Thanks, Leslie and Michael. I'm Gustavo. I'm Guatemalan. I'm the VP of Construction for ECI. I'm a civil engineer with some further studies in structural engineering, real estate, and international real estate development. I've been in the real estate and construction business for 22 plus years now. Glad to be with ECI now, making all those beautiful developments happen. Also, my first time in Belize while working with ECI, even being in the neighboring country. I had never had the opportunity to visit Belize and share how beautiful it is, as Leslie mentioned.
Awesome. Thank you, Gustavo. And joining us new on the line, Jeff Harper. Jeff, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Certainly. Good day, everybody. Jeff Harper, I'm the Senior Director of Hospitality going into week 7, or actually, I guess we're right in the middle of week 7 now for ECI development. Since all the cool people live in Nicaragua, I too live there. My bride of 34 years convinced me, since she is from Nicaragua, that that's where we would be going upon retirement. And as you can see, retirement didn't last very long. I think a total of 4 months, if I'm not mistaken. So we've owned in Nicaragua at a Grand Pacific resort for the last 8 years, and excited to be on this call. Tell you a little bit about our products in Belize.
Thank you, Jeff. And my name is Michael Fuller, the marketing director here at ECI. Been with the company for about 2 years now. Really excited to see all of the progress that we've been having this year, 2023, at all of our projects. I'm not one of the cool kids. I'm not in Nicaragua or living there, but been a couple of times to see our project there at Grand Pacifica and the different communities that we are developing. I'm based in Belize, currently in the Cayo district, but was living in San Pedro for about 18 months. So really great time seeing all that we have out there and experiencing what island life could be like. So happy to talk to you all today about everything Belize and the power of the brands, both the Best Western and Belize Marriott Residences. A little bit about Belize, just a note here, if you'd like a full scoop of our Belize lifestyle and everything that you should know, Belize 101 information, we do have a great recording of our Belize lifestyle webinar available. Shoot us a message at webinar@ecidevelopment.com and we'll get you that full recording. It is about an hour and a half, where Shanae, our RN director, and myself discuss everything that you need to know about Belize. But a little bit of information why folks are choosing Belize over many other destinations. It is one of the top Latin American and Caribbean destinations for travelers at the moment. It is, fun fact, the only English-speaking Latin American and Caribbean country. We are landlocked. I know a lot of folks like to think that Belize is an island because San Pedro and Ambergris Caye gets advertised quite a bit. But we do have a lot to do on the mainland. This time of the year is where tourism tends to slow down a bit, but surprisingly enough, after or post-COVID world, tourism continues to boom and continues to be one of the biggest breadwinners for the country. About 70% of the economy is attributed to tourism coming into Belize. Mentioned we are an English-speaking country, neighboring Mexico, Guatemala, and to the south, Honduras. And a lot of folks venture off to Belize to get a bit of both the sea and the land. So a lot of ecotourism, a lot of water activities, scuba diving, snorkeling, venturing off to the Maya Ruins, seeing a wide range of wildlife. It is a paradise for birders. So if you're into birding, it's a really great place to visit. And Belize is known as the melting pot of cultures in Central America. So you can find a bit about of everything here in terms of cuisine and culture and traditions.
Yeah, I'd really say I'll just kind of jump in there too on, some of my favorite things about Belize. Obviously, when you first come in, you have a couple different options to get over to Ambergris Caye. Like you said, Ambergris Caye, I'm guilty. I still call it an island. I know there's that little connecting piece. I get it. But when you hear Ambergris Caye and San Pedro, a lot of times people are confused, and they're really one and the same. San Pedro is the actual town there in the center of Ambergris Caye. When you come into Belize City, that's where you fly into. And post-COVID, I was actually there kind of locked down on the quote island, the rock, during COVID. And, we did see a change in the community and things going on with tourism. I will say that, I try to make it back every few months, and it's booming. Tourism has definitely bounced back. The flights have been added. But when you land in Belize City, you come in either via the puddle jumper, you can come over on a Tropic or Maya flight. or you can take one of the boats over there to Ambergris Caye. I will tell you one of the ideal things I think about the benefit we have to our Best Western property as well as the Marriott residences is the location. You know, we talk about real estate, location, 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 that we have on our side. When you're looking at the map, you know, San Pedro town is right there in that core, and we are right in that little bubble. You know, some people are venturing way north, you've got south. I've explored and looked at places both on the island, but I think we really do have that as a strong suit in being in that central core there on the island. Wouldn't you agree, Michael?
Absolutely. Things are from the center of town, I'd say about 5 to 10 minutes. If traffic is a little high, maybe 15 to get to town, but we're right around pretty much everything that you need to get to: restaurants, supermarkets, a bunch of different activities and excursions off the island, tour shops that neighbor both of those properties. So yeah, really, really close to a lot of the central things to do in San Pedro. I'd like to talk a little bit about the cost of living. I know this is a big one for folks that are looking at investing in a country like Belize and looking to just generally invest in Central America. There are some differences between what cost of living would look like on the mainland and on the island. There are certain parts of the mainland that are also even more pricey than what you're seeing on the screen here today. But just to give you a general idea, rent for a 1-bedroom apartment on the mainland, you're looking about $400 to $700 a month. This sometimes can include utilities, maybe water, electricity, or Wi-Fi internet connection. Sometimes it may not, especially for the electricity part. On the island, you're looking, however, at rent at about $800 to $1,500 US. And this is a really great thing to think about when you're looking at your investment, especially on an island like Ambergris Caye in San Pedro. A lot more folks are traveling, either looking for digital nomad opportunities, so long-term stays. They're looking for business transactions and places to stay for, again, long-term periods of time. So that long-term rental pool is something that is to your benefit to tap into, that we're all tapping into with our products at ECI as well, and looking for beyond that overnight stay and occupancy for folks that are visiting the country. So that's really great to take note of when it comes to that cost of living expense. The average monthly utility bill, again, this is for your water, electricity, Wi-Fi, could range anywhere from $100 to $150 on the mainland, or about $150, $300 in San Pedro. Again, most of this would go maybe toward your electricity bill, if anything at all. ACs are really, really important in the tropical period or the summertime in Belize. So that's where your utility bill may be a bit higher. Public transportation, we're looking at maybe taxis, the bus system, the water taxis, water ferries, vans that could take you places on the island. You're looking about $20 to $300 per month. I'd also like to put in this pool the rental of golf carts. Yes, golf carts are a thing on the island. You will find that that's the main mode of transportation. And there are golf cart companies that are available for you to rent your golf cart for long periods of time as well. So that's where that bracket ranges on the higher side.
Yes, and I'll jump in there. That's a good point about the golf carts. It's a great mode of transportation. It was one of my favorite things of living there is, you know, running around in a golf cart everywhere. A little bumpy at times, but it really adds to the atmosphere of, you know, living in that type of environment. Definitely reach out. There's so many different awesome rental companies there, but just a little tip, make sure they understand if you are going to be doing long-term rental of a golf cart, they do have sometimes rates that aren't advertised that's, you know, for people like expats that are moving there and living there that are better for that longer period of time. So keep that in mind for sure.
Right, that's a great pro tip, Leslie, on the discounts that you can get if you're staying there for longer periods of time. I know we tend to work with a couple of companies. So like Leslie mentioned, if you're looking for that option, let us know. And we could probably find some opportunities for you. Meals, again, on mainland and on San Pedro can range anywhere from $5 to $40 US. It really depends on how luxurious you want to eat, where you want to dine out at. I always like to tell people, if you're coming to Belize for the first time, do it like the locals do. The mom and pop shops are some of the best type of cuisine that you can get on the island. I know I like to venture off to places like Elvi's Kitchen or El Fogon, and you find your local rice and beans and stewed meats, a lot of different options out there. So it really depends on what you're looking to purchase and what your dietary restrictions may be when it comes to the cost of meals on the island. And then gas tends to fluctuate. Just note this webinar is happening at April 2023. These prices may become lower or higher over time, but for the most part, a gallon of gas is about $5 to $8 per gallon. And for your golf cart, if you are looking to rent a golf cart or purchase your own and use that as your main mode of transportation, it fills up at about 5 to 6 gallons, maybe 8 is pushing it. So really not expensive for your monthly cost there when it comes to gas. Great. So now for some of the fun bits of today's webinar, we're going to talk about some of the opportunities at the Best Western Grand Cayman Gardens and the Belize Merit Residences. Starting off with the Best Western, we are in the midst of construction of our galleon building, and we will jump into some of the amenities that you can experience on site. We do urge you folks, if you haven't been to Belize or San Pedro, to definitely make plans for that trip. There's nothing like visiting and seeing firsthand what's going on and really get that feel of if this is something that is for you. At our property, you will find full-on guest services. Our team is there to take care of all of your needs. We do have staff on site and security. One of the things that sets us apart, and we'll talk about this a little bit on the following slide here, is that we have full condos at the Best Western. A lot of folks, as they're looking for vacation opportunities or for that long-term rental, again, they're looking for a space where they can make a meal. And so our condos are equipped with a kitchen where you can prepare stovetop meals or bake in an oven, full kitchen there, and appliances for you to use. And it also can double as a small entertainment area if you happen to have guests over at your space. Again, the friendly staff, we do have several amenities on site, including that gym, swimming pool and bar. We do have a restaurant, tapas restaurant on site, laundry services, and tennis and pickleball court, which surprisingly continues to be more and more popular on the island. I believe there's only one other pickleball court on the entire island. So this is a huge opportunity for us there for folks that are looking to get their fitness on and take to the courts.
Absolutely. I'm gonna, you know me, I have to jump in a bit because I just
please do.
When we talk about the amenities, I think for the Best Western Grand Cayman property, the amenities are what sets it apart. Because, you know, yes, a lot of places maybe have a pool or maybe have a restaurant, but they don't have all the different amenities. And the pool there it's huge. I'm very familiar with that pool because I took water aerobics there 3 days a week. And so there was an awesome group, all age range, and we would come together 3 times a week. And it was just a great atmosphere, a lot of expats, but also the guests involved. So it's a fabulous pool. They do have the tennis courts and now the pickleball. I've never played pickleball, but I hear it's really gained popularity there on the island. You know, I'm a part of a lot of the expat groups and you see all this friendly competition and, things going on with the pickleball. So I guess I'll have to give it a try sometime when I'm there. I would like to also mention about the gym. A lot of times a hotel gym is kind of small, maybe just has a few little things, but a lot of clients and people that I've taken to the gym, they are really impressed with the size, the type of equipment that's there. So definitely has everything that you would need. The restaurant, I've definitely spent some time there eating and drinking by the pool and great views. It's what he was saying really about the digital nomad and even the expat life. We have seen a trend for that and for people that are looking for these long-term rentals. So I think, if you're looking at that investment piece, that is something definitely to consider. We're watching the trends. We're looking at it. I have a lot of expat friends that are there on the island, and I see their chats going on. They're always looking for new places to move. A lot of times they may want to rent 6 months somewhere and then try a different place on the island. We usually recommend, people that are looking at that lifestyle piece of moving to the island, it was recommended to me when I first came, rent for 6 months, try it, see what you think. It's very different for some people that maybe have never lived overseas and they need to experience that. So we do see a lot of people coming in and embracing that for 6 months to a year, coming with their family, coming with their pets. It's exciting to see everything that's going on there. So, all right, that's it on the amenities. We can carry on.
Yeah, I'd just like to jump in there with you, Leslie, and let folks know, like, a lot of folks, as they're looking for those investment opportunities, are looking for that full package, right? So they're looking for not only their home space, but also what is there to do on site. And I know we're talking about the Best Western here a lot, but for our Marriott residences, this is the same. Where on site, there are several different things to take advantage of, whether it be the restaurants on site, the fitness centers on site, or even the proximity to some of the local spots in town and those excursions and tours. So both the Best Western and the Marriott residences are really in a sweet spot on the island and providing all of these amenities for folks to not have to leave and can find all that they need in one place. Just a little bit about our availability and pricing at the Galleon. At the Best Western, starting prices for a studio is right under that $200,000 US mark, with that balcony access, which is really, really key for a lot of folks wanting that outdoor space and that small private balcony access outside of their home. Again, these are fully equipped with that kitchen and living space, so making it really comfortable for folks. It's not just a bedroom. There are several models available. If you'd like the full info packet on the availability on the Galleon, let us know. And fun fact, Leslie, do you want to let folks know about our recent sales here?
Dude, don't steal my thunder, Fuller. I did catch, at first I was like, oh, he had 12 residences available, but the great news is we had some new reservations come in. So right now we currently only have 10 residences available at the Best Western Grand Cayman at the Galleon building. So we've got corner gardens, studio, and then we do have the 1 bedroom. I think we do have one still left where you can put it on into a 2 bedroom on the 5th floor. So definitely reach out, request the info brochure. Let's get on the phone with your property consultant, because I think now that it's under construction, the excitement is building. We're all really thrilled to see the progress with the Galleon. So definitely reach out as soon as possible.
Awesome. And as we have been saying at the start of this webinar, tourism continues to boom in the country of Belize. Jeff, why don't you talk a little bit about the power of the brand and how Belize and tourism continues to play a big part in the entire scope of why folks are looking at Belize as an investment opportunity?
Absolutely. So with the 2 brands, both Best Western and Marriott, I will be the first to admit that I spent most of my career with Marriott and managing independent hotels and resorts, but have learned quite a bit about Best Western in the last 10 weeks or so. Both of them are really, really very good brands. Both have been around for a long time. Marriott probably rolls off the tongue a little bit easier, and it is Marriott rhymes with chariot, according to Debbie Marriott herself. I think all the commercials even say Marriott. So our Best Western first, we're about 2 blocks back from the beach. Best Western as a brand was started in 1946 and has a total of 18 brands in their family of brands, believe it or not. The only ones I was familiar with prior to this were Sure Stay and then Best Western itself. People think of Best Western as more of kind of a roadside inn, I think, and that's not necessarily the case. Almost all of them, including our Grand Cayman property, have restaurants. Some or all of them have bars. Best Western is actually 4,500 hotels strong now internationally in 100 different countries. And their rewards program, which is really where a lot of the business comes from, is 35 million members strong. Now compare that to Marriott. Our Marriott property will be on the beachfront. Marriott's about 19 years older than Best Western is, was started in 1927 by Mr. Marriott himself. 30 brands in their family of brands after merging with Starwood or purchasing Starwood several years ago, and just over 7,700 hotels now. The Bonvoy program, which was a merging of Marriott Rewards and Starwood, I don't remember the Starwood program at this point, but is now the Marriott Bonvoy program and has 120 million members in it. And just a quick fact about our property there, we will be one of the very few conference centers, or have one of the very few conference centers or ballrooms on the island. Best Western, we're one of the few extended stay properties on the island. Most of the hotels there, you're paying for your food and beverage out of pocket as you go to restaurants at the, whatever Michael said the number was, $15 to $30 per meal for a couple. But you can actually go buy the groceries, go to the farmers markets in Belize, and take it back to your home, back to your residence, if you will, to cook your food. I will say that between Marriott and Best Western, Marriott's, because they've been around for longer, because they're so much bigger, they've got a very large brand contribution to the reservations, and that is going to involve group sales and marketing efforts and group sales and marketing dollars, as well as just their reservation system. Best Western does as well, has close to 20% brand contribution, but is not quite as strong as the Marriott program, but they're up and coming. I mean, they've been growing a lot in the last 2 or 3 years and looking to grow even further. I think that's all I've got, Michael.
Yeah, I'll touch on something I thought of. You just made me think about it. You know, one thing with the Best Western is that there is a Best Western there on the mainland. And I think some of the synergies that we'll see is, you know, a lot of people, if they're coming, you know, for even maybe business travel or things on the mainland, maybe they want to be able to hop over and have that little relaxing time as well. So I'm excited to see the synergy that we have between the two, having the property, you know, having a Best Western. It's not ours, but it is a Best Western property there on the mainland as well.
Yes, and I'll be actually participating in a conference there in June, so we'll let you know how it is. I just had a brilliant point and I lost it. Darn it. So go ahead without me.
Yeah, that's a great point that you brought up, Leslie. To name drop, Ted Todd has visited our property in San Pedro, manages the Best Western on the mainland in Belize City. And we are already seeing some of that synergy happening, where business travelers are wanting to stop in Belize for a couple of days and then venture off to the island for their business transactions on the island, or simply to vacation. In fact, the conference that Jeff is talking about will have some of that occurring, where folks will be at the Best Western in Belize City for a couple of days and then coming over to the San Pedro property. So really excited to see a lot more of that happening, especially for those digital nomads and folks looking to conduct business in Belize. Some of the stats that you're seeing on the screen here are of last year. Occupancy rate close to 50% throughout the year in San Pedro. A little over 370K total visitors for the year. Just want to jump quickly over to, is it this slide? Yes. Where these are stats that you can see live from the Belize Tourism Board.org. So don't trust us here. Go on site and see it for yourself. But already for up to the year, the month of February 2023, we're seeing 90,000 total visitors already for the year. So numbers are looking to surpass those of last year when it comes to visitors to the country and folks looking to book their overnight stays. Typically, an overnight on the island, this is for mid-range hotels, are looking at about $235 a night. And the Best Western is right around that range. And if you're using your reward program, like Jeff mentioned, you are going to be eligible of getting those perks and discounts of being a rewards member. I saw you unmuted there, Jeff.
Yes, one thing real quick. So my point was actually that Best Western is also an extremely flexible brand. I mean, their quality assurance programs are there. Certainly the reservations and sales system, and I've been duly impressed with the revenue management calls, the reservations, and the sales and marketing calls that we've had with them thus far. One of the things they were super flexible on with us is that most of the marketing dollars for what they call LATAM or Latin America go to other Latin American countries. Well, we made it clear that that really didn't work for us because most of our visitors are already coming from the US, and there's a much higher percentage of their rewards members in the US. So they've gone ahead and switched us over to the US marketing team, and we're already starting to see increases. So that was also a conversation we're going to be engaging Marriott in.
Thank you, Jeff. Most of the visitors this year are also venturing off to San Pedro. So that's also a really great sign for us, as well as we're talking about the opportunities at Best Western and the Belize Marriott residences. We are going to get into construction in just a bit here, but wanted to touch base quickly to recap on the Belize Marriott residences and the opportunity there. Some of the things that you can look forward to, Jeff mentioned that conference space. That is a huge plus for us. If you've been to the island, there are not many conference or event spaces available, especially in town. And this property is directly on the outskirts of town, again, 5 to 10 minutes away. So that's really a great opportunity here for folks that are looking to conduct business, conferences, and events on the island. I believe it's around 4,000 square feet. So huge space to be utilized, oceanfront pools. Another great quick fact here, this is the only oceanfront available property on the island at the moment. So let me say that again. This is the only available oceanfront property on the island. So for folks looking for their investment, wanting to be right in front of the water, close to town, huge opportunity with the Belize Marriott residences. Rooftop sunset lounge, a lot of different great on-site activities to do. What's big for folks on the island is always that diving and snorkeling opportunity. So we're going to have our own water sports shop on site, along with other retail stores, that fitness club, luxury spa, as well as a kids club. Prices start right under $320K. This is for our studio, and our residences here go all the way from our studio to 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom opportunities with 202 keys total. Leslie, I don't know if you have had any other pointers here regarding.
I think with the Marriott, we do have a lot of different type of options and floor plans, different sizes and studios, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, up to, penthouse. So definitely it's one of those, make time for that meeting with your property consultant, really go through the different options, let us know what your wish list items are, and we can help match you with the perfect solution for your needs.
Thank you, Leslie. And now for the much anticipated part of today's session, we will jump into construction, the progress so far for 2023 of both the Best Western Galleon and the Belize Marriott residences. So Gustavo, the floor is yours, sir, starting off with Best Western.
Thanks, Michael. And to start with, I'm going to talk a little bit about construction on the island, some challenges we've faced. starting with Belize being a small market and having to import most of the materials that we need and re-import them to the island. So we have to get things to mainland, then import them to the island. It's always a logistics challenge that we have, something that we can get ahead of, but still having not many options from barges to vendors, it's always a challenge to build. Also contractors, finding very qualified or good qualified contractors has been a challenge on the island. We've looked around, we've tried a few. We currently are working with one Mexican contractor, one Mexican group. They basically brought their whole team to the island, at least their manager's team, using all of the Belizean labor that we can. We are in favor and always trying to support the local economies, teaching them how to do things, making their lives better, giving them work as much as we can. But that was one option that we had to take, basically taking a very good construction team from Mexico to the island to be able to help us in building our properties. It's still on an island, and island time is a thing. Everything can be done tomorrow, everything can be done till Monday. So that's always a challenge that we must face, and just working with our teams, working with labor, and just having a new culture in their minds on that urgency that construction always has. With that in mind, specific to the galleon building, we had some challenges getting the permits that we needed at the beginning. Basically, a big hurdle was the civil aviation permit that we need on the island. You can only build 5 stories on the island. I've seen some buildings not really respecting that, but we are always under the law and get all the permits that we need for your investment to be on the safe side always. So that was a challenge to get. We finally got it a few months ago, and I would say even maybe weeks, and started working on the foundation for the galleon. Currently, we've drilled all the piles that we need to drill. More than half of them have been filled or have concrete put in them with their rebar, corresponding rebar, of course. We are working on pouring concrete this and the next week, and we have the plan, or it's under our schedule, to finish the foundation by the end of May, mid-May to the end of May. So that's good news. We finally got the galleon going. The group, as I said, is a very good one. They're really trying to make an example with this building and build it as fast as possible on the island. We have all the services that we need in place, electricity, water. We have the sewer system available. All the materials have started arriving on site. That's mostly rebar, cement, obviously everything that we need to mix concrete. The builder has brought in some good equipment to the island, which was very hard to find, from concrete mixers to a concrete batch plant that we needed. So that's been very good for us, and obviously for the contractor also, having both the Marriott and the Best Western under their supervision. What are the next steps to get to finish the concrete, the foundation slab or the foundation itself? We're currently pouring concrete in piles. Then we need to build the connecting beams over the piles. It's basically a framework that goes over all the piles, and over that we need to build and pour concrete on the foundation slab. This is the phase, I would say, that marketing and sales loves the less. because not a lot of progress is shown, even though a lot of progress is being made, since it's going underground, starting from earthwork, removing all the roots, organic materials that we have on site, and then getting the piles drilled. Everything that has to do with foundation doesn't show a lot of progress in the pictures, but it's a lot of work. It's a big percentage of work from the complete gray work itself. And after that, you'll be able to see a lot of progress going on visually. Our delivery date for the galleon, we are talking about Q3 2024. So that's what we're expecting. It's taken us a while to build the past buildings. This one should be built in a little bit over a year, which is gonna set an example for us and the neighboring buildings. Next slide, please, Michael. And that's it for the galleon, I would say. The Marriott Foundation, we basically have the same system for both properties. Both properties are set on piles that go all the way to the around 15 to 20 feet in the ground, all the way until we find some stone that we can lay our piles on. The difference is that galleon has around 40 piles and the Marriott has around 300 of them. So it's obviously a much lengthier process. We have 90% of the piles drilled by now. All the earthwork has been completed. Again, removing every root that we need, moving some of the palm trees that we had in the middle of the site. We replanted them on the Best Western property, trying to keep them as much as we can. Replacing the bad material with new material that can be compacted. We are currently working on the last few piles that need to be drilled and have concrete put in them. We are at the same time working on the connecting beams that go over the piles. That's what's currently being worked on. More than 60 tons of rebar have arrived on site for the foundation slab and the connecting beams. That's around 1/3 of the rebar that we need. So it's a lot of steel that's going into the building. And the same system, after the connecting beams, we start working on the slab itself. This one is a huge slab, so it will be poured in phases, and also includes the embed plates for the steel structure that starts going over it. The Marriott, differently than the galleon building is a complete concrete structure. It's a frame structure made out of concrete beams and columns. On the Marriott, we have all the foundation done in concrete, and after that, it's a steel structure that goes over it. We are currently working with the contractor on establishing the date for all the slab to have concrete poured on it, the foundation slab. It's been a challenge with the Marriott because of the quantity of materials that we need. Sometimes we've had to import materials from Guatemala, mostly from Mexico, because of the quantities that we need. And it obviously becomes a logistics issue with customs, with just transportation from the vendor to the city, to the barges, to the island, back on trucks and to the job site. So it's quite an interesting work to do on the island. By the way, the Marriott is going to be the largest hotel in Belize, more than 200 keys. No hotel in Belize is as large until now. With that in mind, the next process for both of the buildings is start building frames over the foundation. Once we get the frames in, on the galleon building, we start building the concrete block walls and obviously doing all the finishes that are needed. With the Marriott, it's going to be a little bit different because of the steel structure. You build the whole steel structure, the whole framing for it. Then you start building the slabs and the walls that go in between. That's mostly for safety reasons, not to have beams or columns hanging over the workers that might be working on the slabs or walls that go underneath. And I would say that's where we're at right now, waiting for your questions so that we can get some answers for you.
Thank you, Gustavo. We'd like to open up the floor, as Gustavo mentioned, for our Q&A segment at this point. If you have any questions or comments that you'd like to send over our way. I do have a question coming in from Cynthia. This is for you, Gustavo, asking if the construction schedule is going to be added to Builder.
Yes, it is going to be added to Builder Trend. We are trying to be as honest and transparent as we can. So I'm not adding any schedule on Builder Trend for any of our properties until we are 100% sure of it. What does that mean? That we have all the contractors that we need in place, even though we have a GC on the Belize properties, for example. We work with them to make sure that they have all the subcontracts that they need. And once they are in line, they have their contracts in place, we have all of their schedules, we are able to share the full schedule for the buildings.
Thank you. Leslie and Jeff, maybe you can take this question on the Best Western. Is it primarily intended to be residences, rentals, or both?
Both, actually. We've got a handful, small number, but a handful of people that actually do live in their units that have chosen to not be part of the Best Western program because they don't ever plan on renting them out. But primarily, we're using them for both long-term stays for people that are interested in doing that, and for nightly rentals.
Thank you, sir. Estimated completion date for the Marriott, Gustavo.
Sure. According to our schedule right now, and as I mentioned, we have not uploaded it since we're still putting all the pieces together, but it should be Q1 2025.
Thank you. That was the same question for completion. Let's see. Leslie, maybe this question for you. Are there existing units to purchase at the Best Western?
Okay, I'll address that one for sure. Can y'all see me? There I am.
Yes.
I disappeared for a minute. There are a couple of resales that I know of in the at the Galleon or at the Best Western property. So just reach out, send us a message. We'll get you connected to property consultant and can explore the different opportunities and really look at the differences on, you know, purchasing new, something that's in construction, and then looking at the opportunities in the existing buildings. Absolutely.
Thank you, Leslie. Back to you, Gustavo. Hurricane protection. Some folks are concerned about hurricanes.
Sure. We are up to spec for structural protection. I mean, for earthquakes or any earth movements that might happen, and also hurricane protection on the island. Yes, we have all that in mind, and our design is based on the hurricane protection needed on site.
Thank you, sir. Are open condo numbers going to slow down the construction of Galleon?
I'm not really sure I understand. I understand that since
I'll
there are some units remaining to be sold.
Yeah, I think that's what he meant. Yes, no, that will not start or affect construction anyway. We've passed that mark long ago. Like I said, we only have 10 available currently, so construction has begun and it will not delay that.
Thank you, Leslie. I know some folks are concerned about healthcare in Belize. I know that the Taiwanese embassy and San Pedro have recently signed a contract to build a private hospital on the island. Not quite sure when that is slated to start construction and be completed, but healthcare for the country, my best advice to you would be to seek private institutions first versus the public hospitals. But definitely this is something that the entire country is looking out on, especially because airfare to be lifted to neighboring countries or outside of the country is fairly expensive. So we are looking closely at building better facilities for healthcare in the entire country. And I know San Pedro, like I mentioned, the Taiwanese embassy and the government of Belize are currently working on building a huge private hospital on the island.
Yeah, and I'll touch on that, Fuller, because living there, luckily I didn't have a lot of issues. I will say I got stung by a bee one time singing karaoke, and I'm really allergic, so I had an episode. And I went to, everybody's like, well, just go to the polyclinic. And of course I was new, I didn't know where the polyclinic was, but people helped me get there. And basically I was kind of surprised at that time. I was there as a tourist and everything, like it was paid for. It was, I guess this part of the Belize, I got a little card, member of the Belize healthcare system. So I was really surprised by that. You had the experience, triage, did everything, go to the pharmacy there. I felt like I was in great hands. There's also another great facility north. BMA, Belize Medical Associates. It's just north on the island, and I've had to go there for a couple different things and good experiences there. So you do have a few opportunities there on the island if it's not anything major. I would like to also talk about this because there's a great organization, the RRR, and they really are doing a good job of emergency things that happen there on the island and have a great system in place. So I think that's something to note for sure.
Thank you, Leslie. There was a question about sargassum. I know currently on the island, it fluctuates with the sargassum blooms and when they actually land on the coast or not. Most oceanfront properties are taking note of this and are doing daily cleanups of sargassum on the beachfront and disposing of it properly or using it for I know folks are looking to use it for byproducts like to replace plastic, for example. Currently at the moment on the island, I don't see this as a problem. And again, a lot of companies and hotels are doing their cleanup on a daily basis. This is not going to be a problem with the Best Western property. It's not on the beach. But with the Belize Marriott residences, this will be a frequent daily cleanup that we will be conducting. I know Gustavo is going to be on the island pretty soon, so Gustavo could probably provide us with an update in the near future on the sargassum out on the island.
Sure, and I've been flying back and forth for the last year and a month, I guess. And as you mentioned, it's been fluctuating. Sometimes you see a lot of it. I was impressed the last few times I was there, you could barely see any sargassum in place. So it's something that's privately taken care of. So as you mentioned, everyone takes care of its beachfront, and that's how the island is kept nicely.
Thank you, Gustavo. We do have a question regarding long-term rentals. Maybe we can address that a little bit on the frequency of long-term rentals happening on the island. From your experience, Jeff and Leslie, any input there?
I'm going to give that one to Leslie just because I have yet to get out there. I will say that there is an opportunity to opt into long-term rentals or not in the Best Western program. So you can, when I say long-term, I'm talking like 6 month to a year lease, not just an extended stay of a month or two. Obviously the revenue will be less, but the expenses are also generally less with the long-term rentals. We have some folks that would rather have a bigger appetite for risk, that would rather only have their unit in the nightly rentals so they can get out there whenever they want to, and others that bought it strictly as an investment and may or may not have ever seen it. That we have a handful of long-term leases for.
Leslie, any input there?
No, I think sorry, I got distracted. I'm not gonna lie. I had somebody, you know, the WhatsApp, when you're sales director, your WhatsApp is going off constantly. So I had glanced aside. I missed that. I know it was about the long-term rentals. What specifically was the question?
Yeah, just asking about the frequency of long-term rentals on the island, if we're seeing more and more of that prevalent these days.
Yes, like I said, just my knowledge is just what I see from, you know, personal friends there and the expat chat groups and people looking and things. That would be interesting though. I'll try to see if I can dig in and find any true statistics on that. But I know the long-term rentals is something, and they do consider long-term rentals usually 6 months plus is the category for that. But I think like Jeff hit it right on, you know, yes, it wouldn't be as much as you would have on the short-term rentals, but you know, maybe less wear and tear. You've got one person in, the turnover, that type of thing, and you've got that guaranteed. So yeah, it's definitely worth looking at the pros and cons to do long-term versus short-term.
Awesome, thank you. I do want to just jump up. Oh, go ahead.
I think it's important because we've kind of talked some on the construction with Marriott. You know, we get comfortable with Builder Trend and this awesome tool that we have, and with Galleon and Marriott, that's going to be something new that the owners that are on the webinar today maybe will be getting more information on and kind of get used to how that works. But Gustavo, why don't you kind of maybe talk a little bit about, Sebastian and the team and what to expect from that with Builder Trend moving forward?
Sure. We are transitioning actually from construction liaisons. Sebastian Dominguez is taking over that position, and part of our vision and mission for the next few months is to really work on that communication that we might have lacked at some point in the past between ECI and our customers. Trying to have all that information that you need even before you ask for it, having frequent updates on Builder Trend. Builder Trend is the software and the communication tool that we use. It's a very easy to use, very user-friendly software, I would say, where you can message your consultant, you can message the construction team, always being liaised by Sebastian, but you can get all of your questions solved through Builder Trend. Once you get your property delivered, you'll be able to log on your warranty claims if you need to. You have access to your schedules, to pictures that are frequently being uploaded. So it's a very nice one-stop communication tool that we have with Builder Trend. It's also used within our team for internal communication. So it's something that we're logged on basically all the time. And we invite you to open your account if you haven't as one of our customers. That's the best way to get in touch with our team.
Thank you, Gustavo. And again, if folks are wanting to set that up or not in the know-how, email us at webinar@ecidevelopment.com and we'll get you set up with your Builder Trend account. As we wrap up here, I do want folks, just want to mention to folks to follow us on social media if you're not already. For Best Western, follow us at the Best Western San Pedro, both on Facebook and Instagram. And if you'd like updates on travel tips and what's happening at all of our communities at ECI, follow us at ECI Communities or ECI Travel on Instagram. Any final words, folks, before we wrap up today's call?
Yeah, real quickly, Michael, I'd like to answer one that I think we got the first part of it, but not the second part, regarding buy opportunities outside of new units at Grand Bayman. Let's see, hold on now. Are they in existing? By the way, we stayed at a Grand Bayman in July 2018 and enjoyed the property. I'm sorry, that's not the one. There was a question regarding, and I'm scrolling too much now. Question regarding whether or not Best Western manages the property when the owner's not there. Best Western is actually a franchise flag, so they give us all the tools that we need to be able to compound those marketing dollars, those sales dollars, to not have to have our own reservations people sitting in an office taking up space. But ECI Hospitality Division is actually the manager of those properties.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank
Or
you.
Go ahead, Leslie.
No, I see there's quite a few more questions coming in, and obviously for the sake of time, we won't get to all of those today, but your questions will be answered. They will go out to your property consultant and we'll get those answered for you as quick as possible. I think the main focus is just really, between Best Western and Marriott brands are both well-known and respected, obviously in the hospitality industry, really providing that level of trust and reliability for investors and guests alike. So I think that's the key focus. And then, like I mentioned, just that prime real estate opportunities on beautiful Ambergris Key with really a growing tourism industry are the highlights, I think.
For sure. Well, thank you folks for being online with us today. As Leslie mentioned, questions that were not answered will go over to your property consultant and they will get in touch with you. And we look forward to chatting with you all in the next session. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.